Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Report: Lakers' pursuit of Jerami Grant hits a roadblock. The Lakers are the reported frontrunners to land Jerami Grant from the Blazers, but the franchise's pursuit of the two-way wing has seemingly hit a roadblock. According to The Athletic's Jovan Buha, the Blazers are unwilling to take on D'Angelo Russell's expiring contract worth $18.6 million in a deal that would send Grant to Los Angeles. Buha noted that the Blazers, who already have Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, and Delano Banton on the roster, have no intention of adding another guard in Russell. "I've heard Portland doesn't want D'Lo because they have a million guards anyway. So, it doesn't really make sense for them," Buha said on his Buha's Block podcast. From a financial standpoint, Russell's inclusion is critical for the Lakers to make the deal work, especially since they are reportedly against the idea of parting with Austin Reeves or prized rookie Dalton Knecht. Furthermore, the Lakers will also have to include Rui Hachimura, owed $17 million in the 2024-2025 season, to make the finances work, besides parting with some draft capital. Speaking of draft capital, the Rose Garden report noted earlier this month that the Blazers' asking price for Grant is a minimum of 2 first-round draft picks. The Lakers, eligible to trade their 2029 and 2031 first-rounders, are unwilling to part with such a hefty package for Grant, per several insiders. Grant has 4 years left on the 5-year, $160 million extension he signed with the Blazers last year. As such, the Lakers would acquire a quality player for the long haul, not just a stopgap arrangement. The 30-year-old Grant averaged 21.0 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 2.8 assists, while shooting 40.2% from deep for the Blazers last season. Aside from long-range shooting, Grant has proven to be the prototypical 3-and-D player capable of guarding multiple positions on the floor. He could solve a ton of the Lakers' defensive issues, playing either the 3 or 4 spot next to Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Zack Lowe gives Lakers fans huge cause for optimism on trade market. The Lakers are always at the center of trade and free agency rumors, especially with LeBron James and Anthony Davis so clearly needing some help. Until today, there hadn't been much Lakers news of late, with all eyes on the Olympics. But ESPN's Zack Lowe offered a promising little nugget for Lakers during the latest episode of his podcast, The Lowe Post. Lowe strongly suggested that Trailblazers forward Jerami Grant ending up in LA was inevitable. "Should we start printing the Jerami Grant Lakers jerseys, by the way?" Lowe asked during a conversation with ESPN's Tim McMahon. "Should we just do it now? I think I might order one." At 30 years old and on a 5-year, $160 million contract, Grant would make a lot more sense on a win-now team like the Lakers, as opposed to a young rebuilding team like the Blazers. The question will be what Portland wants in exchange for Grant, and whether LA can offer enough. One trade chip the Lakers have is D'Angelo Russell, but according to The Athletic's Jovan Buha, Russell won't be a valuable piece in this specific case. "I've heard Portland doesn't want D'Lo because they have a million guards anyway," Buha said on his podcast Buha's Block on July 26. "So, it just doesn't really make sense for them." Speaking with Heavy Sports' Sean Devaney earlier this month, one Western Conference executive spoke about the complicating factors in getting a Jerami Grant trade done. "Jerami Grant can play, he is a shooter, he is a good, active defender when he is engaged, he is going to do a lot of things that help your team. But he is a third option. He has some big numbers the last few years, but he has done it on terrible teams. No one is going to make a big trade for a guy who gives you 20 points on a bad team and 13 points on a good one." Zack Lowe strongly hints Lakers will acquire $160 million wing. The Los Angeles Lakers are limited in their ability to add more help via trade. One of the few options they could consider is Portland Trailblazers wing Jerami Grant, and ESPN's Zack Lowe hinted that a trade may be coming. On the July 26 episode of the Lowe Post, Lowe strongly hinted that the Lakers trading for Grant is inevitable. Should we start printing the Jerami Grant Lakers jerseys, by the way? Lowe asked. Should we just do it now? I think I might order one. At 30 years old, Grant does not have much of a place on the rebuilding Trailblazers long term. He will enter the second year of a 5-year, $160 million contract. The Lakers have players on contracts to match, like D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Jared Vanderbilt. What remains in question is what the Trailblazers will want in return for Grant. Since they are under the NBA's second tax apron, they can combine the contracts to match Grant's in a trade. Grant has averaged 20 points a game for the last 4 seasons, but he's never made an All-Star team. He has also played for a playoff contender, like when he played for the Denver Nuggets when they made their Western Conference Finals run in 2020. A Western Conference executive told Heavy Sports' Sean Devaney what Grant's appeal is. However, he also explained the problem with acquiring him. Jerami Grant can play, he is a shooter, he is a good, active defender when he is engaged, he is going to do a lot of things that help your team. But he is a third option. He has some big numbers the last few years, but he has done it on terrible teams. No one is going to make a big trade for a guy who gives you 20 points on a bad team and 13 points on a good one, the exec told Devaney in a July 7 story. The exec added further that the problem is how expensive Grant is. Not with his contract. He is going to make $30 million next year, $32 the year after that. Then he has 2 more years. You can't pay your third option $34, $35 million. If Portland wants the Lakers, the Heat, any of these teams to take him, they've got to recognize that. Another problem with the possible Grant Lakers trade is who the Trailblazers want back. Though Grant could be on the table, the Athletic's Jovan Buha explained why Portland does not want Russell back in a trade. I've heard Portland doesn't want D'Lo because they have a million guards anyway, Buha said on his podcast Buha's Block on July 26. So, it just doesn't really make sense for them. Russell's appeal in a trade is that his contract will expire in 2025. However, he, too, would not have much of a place with the Trailblazers. There is a scenario where the Lakers and Trailblazers could get more teams involved. Russell would fit better on a team trying to win, like the Lakers. However, it's clear they want more help. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jerami Grant? Leave your opinion in the comments.